Hey guys, welcome to TV Movie Mistress, your one-stop shop for all things entertainment. As always, I'm your host Mo, and I am back this week to talk about Interview with the Vampire, episode 5. And this week I have with me a very, 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 very special guest on the show to talk to me about this show, which I adore, and I know she adores it. You guys have heard me, Jesus Christ, those are not words. You guys have heard me talk about her podcast in the past. I've also written, for her site for like the old school listeners. And like, I'm gonna like be a weirdo and just be like, she's the reason why I'm still learning Korean like years in, because I have the attention span of a flea. So you guys probably know who I'm talking about at this point, and it's Nina.
Hey, Moji.
Hi. Don't act shy.
It is no, honestly, the part about you with learning Korean, I don't know how much you talk about it on the show, but she's so committed, you guys. She shows up. All right.
I don't talk about it. I actually don't.
Really?
Because I'm very like, not like, I don't know, because I'm like, I don't want to like speak it and then like, I don't talk about it.
Oh, no. Well, then I'll talk about it. I will talk about that and nothing else. I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about this episode.
Okay, go for it.
So I have been learning Korean for 4 years now. And I use a curriculum called Talk to Me in Korean, and they have 10 levels. So I'm currently in level 9, and I like to go back and restudy the levels to, keep it fresh. And the more I learn, I have a better understanding of stuff I, thought I knew. So anyway, one of the ways that I do that is by, and getting the practice of not just learning it, but speaking it, was hosting these classes on the app Clubhouse. And it like kind of weirdly parlayed into me kind of tutoring some friends. And honestly, it helps me learn. Like I said, it's a reason for me to like revisit old material. So currently we are in level 3, and
Yes,
Moji has been there since the beginning. But even before that, Moji was, before I started doing that, we were just like studying from random books, also by Talk to Me in Korean. And they were like intermediate level stuff, like looking back on it. And Moji was coming to those classes. Then we started just going through the levels again. And she's been there since the beginning. We used to do it on just Sundays. But now we're on level 3, and we do it probably 2 to 3 days a week. And Moji is committed. She's always there.
I'm shocked that I'm still committed, honestly, because like, even though I do a lot of shit, I do lose interest quickly. But like, I'm constantly shocked that I'm still like, I continue to be interested. You. Oh, thank you.
I can't believe you don't talk about it. Like, you guys, like, after you listen to the next time you write in your feedback for anything, congratulate her and tell her how amazing she is. You. And like her growth is amazing, you guys. It's so good.
It helps when you have an understanding tutor, understanding, in you, because you say I show up, like you show up.
Listen, what she means to say is it helps when your tutor is an absolute grammar nerd.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
I love it, you guys. I honestly, I study it for fun. Like the way I used to play video games, I study Korean.
And that blows my mind, because honestly, it's like learning Korean, I'm also learning English again, because I've said before, like, I passed English doesn't mean I know what the fuck like an adjective is.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm like, oh, that's what an adjective is? It's like, that makes sense.
You relearn English when you learn another language, a different language.
Really do. Yeah. You really do. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure. And, again, like I said, having you show up and listen to all the questions and be graceful and deal with everything, like, big ups to you. But I also pat myself on the back for showing up because, that is the hardest part. And sometimes I'll be like, I don't know what the hell I'm learning, but eventually it will sink in. And those are the best moments that kind of like make me continue
Yes,
wanting
it
to
makes it
learn.
worth it. Yeah,
Yes,
It's been a lot of fun. We've made some really good friends. It's just been
yes,
a pleasure. It's one of the best things I think I've done
yes.
for myself in a while. So,
Look, and that's why I still big up Clubhouse because, like, I feel like it's underrated because, like, so
mhm.
many people just use it for like salacious reasons,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you can use it for whatever you want to use it for,
yeah.
and
I
it
mean,
could be
we have
trash
fun. Mhm.
or
I mean,
useful.
besides like the Korean lessons, we have fun like when there were like Marvel shows and maybe the next one, like Loki season 2, definitely. But we were doing that. We would meet up on the weekends on
Yes, and
Clubhouse.
everyone would show up. Like it was
Yeah,
fun. Like if
just to talk
it's
about the
something people are
episode.
interested
Yeah.
in,
So it's how you
people show
use
up.
it. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely how you use it.
But I think a lot of people just hear like all these fuckboy rooms that are happening, and it's like
Right. Yeah,
you
no.
just
I
got to
go in
delete
right
those
for
people.
this. I go right in for what I'm there for and then I leave. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, like I used it for mad long on stocks. Like I picked up so
Remember.
much shit, huh?
Hmm. And
Like
I
during the
remember because like
pandemic.
Clubhouse is creepy in that way and that it like shows you the rooms your
Yes.
friends are in. Yeah. So I remember you in stock rooms. Yep.
Oh yes, and again, I learned a lot because I was out here gambling because that's literally what the stock market is. But you figure out the like the rules of it, and it's so
Hmm.
much easier. You're like, oh, it's not gambling; it's kind of like people,
My my
honestly.
my brain could never. Like, you know how we all have our stuff? Like you talk about me and my grasp of Korean. Thank you.
Yes.
The stock market, no, I couldn't. My brain, no, that's not
I
where.
never thought I'd be a geek for the stock market. I did not see it coming, but because I also hate math. Like I noped out of
Right.
math, like right about fractions. Um, but I like money and I like having it and I like spending it, especially on BTS. So
Right.
it's, I don't know. I was like, let me learn about this a little. Let me understand it so I lose the least amount of money possible
I
for my
love how
extracurricular.
I love how that happened. Like during the pandemic, people picked up different kind of hobbies and interests and or either deepened. Like I was already
Yes.
studying Korean, but like because of the pandemic and having to use Clubhouse to study, it kind of
Mhm.
absolutely accelerated my learning. But even I think you and like Jawan and others were gardening and stuff. Like
Yes. I just passed
I'm
on
still low
Jawan.
key offended. I'm still low key offended. I didn't get an invite to the gardening club, even
That's
though I would absolutely not be gardening.
I mean, that's because Jawan is a man and he doesn't know how to do things. So,
This is true. You
it's
invite
his
me
fault.
so that I can exactly politely decline.
Exactly. But, and he'll be there being like, how do I get access to the Black Girl Magic group? Like, get out of here,
Exactly.
sir. Get out of here. So it's all his fault. But outside of all of that, it's actually hilarious. The last episode or the last show you've been on was like years ago, probably right before, maybe before, I don't know. And we were
Hmm,
talking about BTS, of course. It was,
of
I
course.
think we were talking about like Taeyang or something. That was in 2019. So
Wow.
yeah,
So much has changed since then. That's
yes.
crazy. Yeah.
It's a different fucking world. But I kind of do miss the pandemic, but and I'm happy we got so much time to ourselves back. But then
Yeah.
capitalism was like, nah, bitches.
Exactly.
So, so
But I
we're
feel
back.
like people are currently still kind of pushing back,
Oh yeah,
you
oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to how it was. Get out of here. Get out of
Exactly.
here.
Exactly.
But yeah, so you know, we're here to talk about Interview with the Vampire after all of that, guys. And I, for one, am excited to hear your thoughts, Nina, on this show. And before we
Mhm.
jump into episode 5, which we will be covering, like overall, like on like what were your thoughts going into this show, and what have you like, I don't know, just give me your overall thoughts on the show. Keep in mind, I have only watched up until episode 5. I have not finished the last 3 yet. But, you know, what are you loving about this show?
First of all, there's only 2 more left. There's not 3. There's only 2.
That is how numbers work. Okay.
No, listen, I'm saying that because for some reason, Donnie and I also thought it was 8 episodes. And so we were watching it with AMC Plus, where you get like a week ahead. Yes. And so we didn't know that. We thought it was 8. We were so disappointed that it was only 7.
Oh, that sucks. And that's fucking IMDb then, because they have 8 episodes
they have
listed.
It as 8. Yeah.
That's some bullshit. Thank you, Nina. Let me handle my heartbreak even earlier.
Exactly. Just prepare you, because I was not prepared. So going into it, I'd read the book back, like, me and my best friend was such nerds, because this is before like the internet, because I'm old. I remember there were a few books that we read like together. Like we would just, literally laying in my bed, reading the same paperback at the same time. Are you ready to turn the page? Okay. Like, and I think this book was one that we read, and then there might have been like a John Grisham or 2. But anyway, so I'd read the book, I'd seen the movie. I enjoyed both, but I wasn't like a huge Anne Rice fan. I've read quite a bit of this series, but certainly not the entire thing. And I'm not like, I don't remember like a lot of it, like the minute details. But overall, I just remember enjoying them and then eventually falling kind of out of them. So we were always going to watch the show. And I think I made up my mind to cover it when they announced before it debuted that it had already gotten a 2nd season. So that really piqued my interest. And then just going into it, I figured they'd have to change some stuff from the source material and the movie because they cast a Black man to be Louie.
Yes.
So I was curious to see like what those changes would be, and I've been very happy with it. It is, having obviously seen all 7 episodes, it's like in my top 3 of 2022 shows.
Okay. Are you team Louie or team Lestat?
I'm team therapy.
Not team therapy. She don't go here.
I'm team therapy for all of us involved. Because this is some complicated, toxic shit.
Yes.
And I don't even know. Like, I am not prepared nor qualified to pick a side.
Okay.
Right? Honestly, I'm not. I'm here for everything they give me, though.
Yes.
Every bit of it.
Yes.
The toxicity, the sex.
I love it.
All of it.
I mean, episode
killing,
1
all of it.
Was it episode 1 where they were fucking and he flew? He levitated while still in Louie, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening? It's like the better the sex, the more the toxicity. So that makes
exactly
sense.
So I'm here for whatever they're serving, but I cannot pick.
Gotcha.
I'm here for therapy. I want everybody to heal.
As of episode 5, I'm team Lestat. I'm absolutely yes. Wait, no, not maybe by the end I'm team neutral, but for the most part, I get Lestat. And
it's so funny to me that you're like to this episode, and this is the episode in which he nearly killed this man.
Okay, like it's gone from like 100% team Lestat to like now like 50% team Lestat. Like depending on how episode, because people just manipulate the fuck out of Louie, Claudia included. So I'm kind of team no one by the end, but for the most part, I was kind of team Lestat because like he made some good points.
I can't wait to hear what those points are.
He made some good points. But okay. So, who is your favorite non-vampire character?
Are there non-vampire characters? Let's see.
Well, his mama was one.
Oh, right. I feel bad. I will tell you, I feel bad for the sister.
Yeah.
And this episode was really, really rough in terms of that. But no, really good question. My favorite, I know, it is the sex worker from the first episode when that man stuck it in her booty hole.
Yes,
and she was like, no, motherfucker, you do not do that without permission.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. She was a boss bitch. I really do like her. Yeah. That's true.
And she's also in P-Valley.
The second season? Because I feel like I didn't see. Well, she wasn't in the first.
She's in shit. I think she's in both seasons. She's the woman who was going there. I think the first time she went there was with her divorce settlement. She just got divorced, and then it turned out she slept with her husband's mother.
Why don't I remember that?
And she's like she's somebody. She has like an official title with the city. Because she was also when they were closed for COVID and then they reopened with like restrictions, she was the one that she was getting a lap dance and the girl coughed in her face.
I don't know. Okay, I do have to finish season 2, so maybe that's why it's not ringing too much of a bell. But okay,
I'm sorry, but yes.
It's
anyway,
fine. I ain't gonna remember all that. It's fine. She's in Valley,
and she's my favorite non-vampire character. Yes.
All right. Okay. I respect that. I see that. I like it. Okay, so let's jump into the episode we're here to talk about. And this episode is titled A Vile Hunger for Your Hammering Heart. And I love how dramatic like the titles are. Like I love it. This episode is all about Claudia's activities, quote unquote, just sort of ruining. No, I don't want to say ruining everything, but like just pushing everything bare between Louis and Lestat. And every minute, every scene was just escalation upon escalation. Because you just think like we've reached the top of whatever's about to happen until something else happens. So, let's jump into it. Like we opened the episode with Daniel reading Claudia's diaries while and like the part he's currently reading is the last words she wrote of all her victims, like her
kill list. Yeah.
Kill list, because that's normal. And while he's reading that, you have Louie like taking a bite out of Rashid. Petty Rashid, as I like to call him. What do you think of Rashid, by the way? I kind of don't quite know. Like, I feel like I don't know where his loyalties lies, even though he seems very loyal to Louie, but he's also just so petty.
So my notes on Rashid, and keeping in mind that, again, for everybody listening, I've finished the series, so I'm obviously not going to spoil anything. I'm looking back at my notes from when we podcast, and for episode 4, at the very end, or towards the end, I have, what is Rashid? And under that, my 2 notes are, he mentions Dubai as a child. Like,
yes, I remember. Like,
remember when because of the language? Yeah. He said, and so it kind of made me think that he was really old. And then when I think it was something with Daniel's medical records, and he said they'll be sent to your electronic mailbox. And I was like, who the fuck says that? Like, nobody says that, right? Like, to your email, right? Yeah, that's what we would say. We wouldn't even say in your inbox. You might say check your inbox, but you would say sent to your email. And the fact that he called it an electronic mailbox. So I just remember back from episode 4, those were my thoughts on him. Just that I thought he was really creepy, and I was absolutely sure that he wasn't human, even though we see that he is in the sunlight. So
Yeah.
what he is exactly, I don't know. So those are my thoughts on Rashid.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't really think he was older. But yeah, I guess if he's been exchanging for a while with Louis, that excuse me as I burp champagne. But
Oh,
Happy New
Happy New
Year,
Year,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys. um, yeah, but I guess yeah, it's also like he does act like he has rights. It's just I
Yeah.
could say that more eloquently. But yeah, it's so that
Or
would come. Okay.
at the very least, of all the people kind of like working for Louis, like he has what's the word I'm looking for? He has authority, right? At
Yeah.
least among servants, right?
Like he
Yeah.
talks back. He's got
Yeah.
some. It feels like agency. Like the other guy who was feeding
He
on him,
knows
like
a
the
lot.
Russian, just seems
Mm-hmm.
dumb, like a dumb
Yeah.
muscle head. Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, that just makes him a problem. Um, but so yeah, so he's reading Claudia's kill list, and
Mhm.
this is the first scene where things just start escalating because Louis finishes eating
Mhm.
and everyone in the scene is petty. You've got Daniel being petty because he wants more information. You've got Rashid being petty to Daniel. And then you have Louis reading Daniel's mind and being all like, oh, well, he tastes like pineapple and honey. And I was like, damn, that does, that one tastes really good.
I know. Like, that is so considerate of him.
Very considerate. Very.
Because you know
And
that other guy looked like he tasted like cigarettes and
uh, like sweating cigarettes. Like, no,
yeah,
thank you. Mm-mm. Like,
yeah.
please marinate yourself before you come to me. I appreciate it.
Like
But Rashid is like, I would never.
yeah, Daniel is very like he's very hard on Claudia, I think, and he's like where Louis feels like Louis is maybe romanticizing like what Claudia did in these particular entries because what she was doing, like you said, was killing people and then like recording their last words.
Yes.
Um,
Like,
and
that's
she seems,
extra.
yeah, and she seems. I mean, but it's also like obvious why because she's traumatized by what's his name, Charlie.
Yes.
And she's still a child, right? Like, so she's like a child on crack.
Yes. Yes.
Her is like a child, or I should say, child emotions or teenage emotions, like on crack, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, I feel like he's unnecessarily hard on this vampire child, but at the same time, like I get his point. I think because I think it's later where he's like, "What's the point of doing this if you're going to like hide things?"
Yeah,
Right?
when
Like,
he found the ripped pages, yeah.
yeah,
And it's a true question, but Louis definitely infantilizes Claudia, like
hmm
from the
hmm
very get-go. Like he's just
hmm
bad. Like and this
yeah.
is why like I say a lot of times like I'm not like to say like Lestat is very strict as a fucking parent. Maybe that's why I empathize because I would be strict as a parent. I have no
hmm
problem
hmm
having fun and blah blah blah, but like children like need boundaries and guidelines of what they can and cannot do. And every episode prior to this has just been Louis not recognizing like she's a vampire child and wanting to raise her
hmm
as a child and not the vampire part of it.
hmm
And Lestat very much comes in like a fucking psychopath that he is. I do acknowledge that, but his way of teaching is also necessary, and
But
it kind
it
of feels
doesn't.
like, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, but it doesn't help though that like he didn't want her.
He didn't. He wanted his man to come back home.
Right.
Like,
like, you know, like I get what you're saying, but like in a perfect world, kids are planned, right? Or at the very least, right? Like it's like a decision made to become a parent, and like you've kind of thought about like what kind of parent you're going to be, or at the very least, even if you haven't planned it, by the time the child gets here, you start to have some idea. Like, no, Lestat didn't ask for this. Louis just came home and was like, "Here, fix it."
And he gave in to Louie, which he should not have, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely not. Because right. And see, I really do think that like Lestat, the way he views things is he would, against his better judgment or wants or whatever, he would have done this to keep Louis because he is toxic. Yes. But I feel like he does view Claudia as something that in the hierarchy of things within that house doesn't matter as much as Louis. So he would gladfully like be done with her at any time. So I don't know that he thought of it as much of a big deal to do this for Louis, because I really do think he thought, well, I can fix it at any time by just like getting rid of her, you know?
I don't even see it like that. I think even with their toxic ass relationship, he is a simp for Louis. And he gives in way too often, in my opinion, to Louis, which is what has led to him breaking a very good rule that vampires have, which is you don't turn fucking children because consequences. Yeah. But he broke that rule for Louis, in my opinion, like on the condition that, okay, so you're going to come back to me and you're going to like act right in this relationship we have. And even though Louis stays, it doesn't feel like Louis ever honored the other half of that, which was to recommit to Lestat. Yeah. And that's kind of fucked up. You can't beg me to change this child into a vampire and me say, I'm going to do it, but you're going to stay, and you kind of half-ass stay.
But like, okay. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because we're gonna do some
okay.
I just want to say, I just want to remind everybody, therapy. Go ahead. Continue.
Yes. I am pro team therapy. My copay show it, but therapy ain't in this world. Okay, so they have this petty moment between all three of them. Let's see. Louis decides to continue his story of Claudia's indiscretions, and then we jump right back to the past, and it's adorable because Louis thinks like Claudia's on a hunger strike. And we see him like breaking pigeons in her room. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
He's like, this is the equivalent of like leaving some cookies outside the door.
Yeah,
leaving a sandwich outside the door of your petulant teenager.
Who's like, they eat it.
Like, right. Got My Chemical Romance in their room on repeat. I don't know.
Oh my God. I don't know what emo shit the kids are listening to. I know for me, it was definitely My Chemical Romance and Simple Plan for a hot minute.
Right. Meanwhile, this is actually a John Hughes movie, and Claudia has tied her bed sheets together and gone out the window.
Yeah.
And has been feasting all around town.
And you have just Louis being so like she's not eating. I'm really worried, and this is all your fucking fault, Lestat. And Lestat is just sick of Louis shit. He's like, dumbass. She's not in her fucking room. And he proves to him by opening the coffin to show she's not there. And it just shows like how Louis don't ever believe Lestat. Even when Lestat is right. Not cool.
Because Louis wanted this perfect family.
Yeah.
And because, the last one or his real one or his first one, whatever you want to call it, fell apart. And we see like the complete end of it in this episode. And so he views everything, the way he wants it to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
and not how it
how it actually,
is.
yeah, and then not how it actually is. Yep.
And this
Homegirl
is
been taking body
honestly,
parts and stuff.
look, and I've seen this with a lot of people in my life who just have a baby to fix things, but don't actually like
Hmm.
fix things.
Hmm.
And that's just the vibe I was getting with. I don't know, like you still gotta like give a fuck about the person who's the other adult that's with you. You can't just kind of like you can't just put all your shit on the kid, and you can't put all your shit on your partner. You gotta have some kind of balance to it. If not, like then y'all are all just in my head like hostages in a house.
I love how we're talking about this with vampires.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about this show. It's like domestic issues with
Hmm.
vampires.
With vampires.
Vampires. But no, Lestat is like, fuck this shit. She's not in her room. I'm tired of you blaming me for everything. And we see her diaries, and Louise like, you can't read her diary. And Lestat's like, I'm reading her diary.
This was so bad, though. This was like, I feel like this is not the type of thing you should do. I
You should never
can't.
do this to your child. No.
You shouldn't do this. Absolutely not. And the only thing I will say is that I feel like if you are doing, or if you're snooping because you have like serious concerns, right? Like,
Yes.
again, I know we're
Harm is
talking,
involved.
right. I was going to say, I know we're talking vampires, right? But she went through a very traumatic experience with Charlie. She had like human leftover trauma, we find out in this episode, that was never addressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your kid is acting out and you think that they may self-harm or whatever, then I
And you
understand.
read. Yeah.
I understand the snooping. I mean, if you think that your kid is going to do something to themselves or others, I get it.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
don't be
in their
snooping just
case,
because, like, your kid rolled their eyes at you. Like that.
exactly. And I think in their situation, the potential for the harm that Claudia could do is so much greater than like the average teenager, that you kind of have to at this point, because she's already shown that she's being sneaky, right?
Yes.
So you have to at this point. But I also get that you shouldn't do it gleefully the way Lestat did.
You absolutely
He's an asshole.
No, he's an absolute asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am glad they got a little bit of a head start on knowing their serial killer of a vampire teenage daughter is doing out in them streets. And when she returns, I love the gang up because like Lestat is in her fucking coffin.
Oh my
And
God.
it's all so serious, but yet so funny.
Like, where is she? Because she tries to run. I was like, where were you going?
Right? And Louie comes in through the other door. And I was like, y'all a hot mess in this house. But yeah, this is
did you read them? And I can't remember what Louis says, but Lestat is like, I read them all.
He's like, I think he was like, I read some aloud. I was like, he's like, oh, you don't want to hear this, Louie? Fine, I'm just going to speak loudly. And he reveals a couple of things that, like, again, this is the start of her kill list, the last words of her victims, the fact that she's burying them, and she's just like, you like invaded my privacy. And she basically throws a tantrum where she shrieks and she actually breaks glass with her voice. But then, like, Louie's like, you dummy. He was way nicer. I would not have been. He pointed out the fact, like, you think you know everything. Where the fuck did you bury the bodies? And she's like, you don't need to know. I buried them. And I think it comes out like it's at by the golf area or whatever. I'm probably not saying that word right.
She was thinking like she was thinking it was an issue of proximity, right? Like you don't have the bodies in like, close to where we are or whatever. She wasn't considering, like he said, the conditions, the geographic conditions of a bunch of bodies there, considering where they live and the weather conditions. And sure enough, that's when it's just like bodies start.
I think I gasped because I was just like, God damn it,
Mm-hmm.
Claudia. Like, you are doing a lot, young lady.
Mm-hmm.
But even at this point in the story, I didn't even think, like, because I just thought she was out here wilding and killing folks for blood. I kind of, by the end of it, when they kind of have the reveal of what she was actually trying to do, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which is worse. She's
Yeah.
like a Mary Shelley or just like a vampire killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like once they kind of point out the whole Gulf and floods and how water and how
Yeah.
that shit works.
That's exactly what happens.
Which she had not considered. Sweet summer child. Oh, where am I? I cannot with myself. But yeah, so they yell at her. That doesn't really work. And this is kind of when, let's see, she throws a tantrum. Oh, okay.
Oh, they go to, they meet with that guy, Tom, right?
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So they go and meet with this wannabe politician, Tom,
Right.
who is there to ask for funding, but he's also there to be like they're like Louis and Lestat are there to find out if there's been any word of all these murders that Claudia has had, and this politician is there to be like, well, I'm looking for funding, but also yes. Like you are,
and that's when they find out. It's like they find out it's worse than they thought, because they're like, one of them says something like, we heard it was a couple of bodies, and then he says more like whatever, I forget the number, and then the fact that they're
I circled that because I was like, when y'all just not going in her room at all?
That's
the
number I had. That's the number I had in my head, 56. But I was like, Nina, that feels high.
50. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, 56. 50. Yeah. That they discovered. We don't know what New York City discovered. Shit.
Well, she's been taking body parts, like the breast, this. Yeah.
And I love how the politician is like, why just one? Just take both, bitch. Like,
right. But you know what I don't understand in this scene? Like I'm looking at my notes, and from when I watched this like a month ago or whatever. What wasn't there something else, like, because Lestat does that thing where he freezes time, right, again, and Louis walks over to another table.
Yes,
and
to like talk to
something
the chief of police or some shit.
Right. Was he doing Tom a favor? Like,
oh no, that seems like the mark of death. He put a cross or an X, and I know Lestat definitely is an atheist. So
wait. Lestat put the X on Tom's face, right?
Yes. And then Louis walks. What did Louis go and do? He goes over to the chief of police, or like the head of police, fat guy who's in the back, to I guess to just mind info him, or to get information out of him. So
I never understood like what that, like I didn't know if he did something for Tom, like Tom, because I remember he says to Tom, like, I know you didn't just call us here for like campaign donations or something.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, nope. He was like, he was almost like, it felt like Tom was trying to hedge his bets, like, in case you guys aren't actually psycho killers, I'll take the money and give you this tip off. But if you are, just like, I don't know, just
okay.
Like he's playing both sides.
I felt like I just had missed something there. Okay.
No, I mean, it's also information, right? He's like, like don't. I don't know, but also like Lestat puts an X on him, so I'm like, is that gonna go in the dark?
I thought that was just being petty, right? Like he was.
That might be it. I thought he was like just like kiss of death, like vampires gonna see the sex and just be like, he's free food. I don't know.
You ever like see like a scratch on your body and like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, you think you just scratched yourself in your sleep?
Way too often, and I hate that shit. I'm like, like, was I fighting in my sleep? Like, did I wake up and like walk around? Like, where did this bruise come from? And it's just like, I should stop asking or put a camera
I
on
love the
myself.
idea. I love the idea of time moving again and Tom just being like, why the fuck am I bleeding?
Look, like, ow, where did that come from? Like, not subtle at all, Lestat. Not subtle at all. So they find out all this information at the saloon. 56 bodies were found. And from there, they head on home because they've been told, like, folks are going to drop by. And
Yes.
that's exactly what happens when they get home. There's this deputy who's talking to Claudia, who's acting like a drunk. And this entire, like, kind of montage that plays out with the cops in their home.
Yes.
Claudia hiding bodies and trophies, and Louis and Lestat trying to, like, bluff their way. And then you have this, like, music in the background that's like, dun, 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 dun. Like, it's just too fucking funny for what's happening. Okay.
And you got these like racist, homophobic cops.
The worst. Like, they didn't find shit, but so they just had to leave with that. We know you guys are gay. Like,
yeah.
And that itself is a crime, but I'm not like, it's just like, go die. Like, they could kill you right now. You know that,
because
right?
because at first it was kind of like almost like a class thing, right? Where Louis and Lestat were like, we'll be sure to let so-and-so know how you treat, like they were trying to like drop their connections, particularly Louis. And then I feel like the cop looks at this black man like, okay, you're still gay though. So like, don't forget that. I mean, like,
and I could take you in just for that, because that's what
there's only one bed upstairs. I saw that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of bullshit. Yeah.
I was just like, kill him. Can we kill him? Like, this ain't no loss. But right now things are so hot with Claudia. They can't really do that.
He's out of control.
Out of fucking, like, just when she goes in her bedroom and we discover she has a whole human body in her closet. Again, Louie, you don't smell shit?
Yeah, I don't get how they,
They're raising her like she's a white girl.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
This is the stats doing.
Yeah, is it?
No, it's her Lestat half in more ways than one. This is not only white behavior. This is like evil vampire behavior. Yeah. And
I think it's kind of funny that, Louis is very much my child. That's my child. I'm like, that's your child and Lestat's child, because she picked up all of Lestat's like manipulative behaviors, like to the fucking T. He should be proud, honestly. But they are able to get the fucking cops out of their house, thankfully, and. After, again, they should have just killed them after the homophobic ass comments. But Lestat and Louis again try to push, like, the fact that everything that Claudia is doing is fucking insanity. Like, they have the table with this dead body that's rotten to be like, what is you doing, bitch? What is you doing?
And it's they're kind of blaming each other a little bit, like, well, not blaming, but Lestat is like, you wanted her, you fixed her. Like,
I mean, they were absolutely blaming each other, because Louis like, well, if you hadn't have made her watch her lover be cremated,
that's right. He brings up the Charlie thing. Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all are fighting, but like, it's not fixing the issue. It's probably causing the issue more, actually.
And then in the middle of it, Claudia's like, who's going to love me? Like, and then when she goes through like that whole thing where she talks about, how she's going to look forever. Right. Yes. And what are her options? Like perverts, like the one who used to watch her pee. And this is what I meant by like,
leftover
you find that she has like all this, like, unaddressed trauma that, or just the fact that, young boys at some point, she keeps aging mentally, right?
Not physically,
Yeah. So she's not going to want to be with young
boys.
boys because for appearance's sake, because of what she looks like. So like, what are her options? And when Lestat is like, you're not my type. Like,
Cause she yells, "Which one of you is gonna fuck me?" And I was like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ, Claudia, that's your daddy's. So neither.
But I'm sorry, this is probably my favorite. I have so many from the season, but this is probably one of my favorite deliveries from Louie. He's like, "Will you shut the fuck up?"
Like, Louis is just so fed up with both of them. Like,
Yeah, he really is.
He is between a rock and a hard place, and he does not have the skills at all to handle Lestat. And like, he just, again, like you said, he kind of just pretends everything will work out, but it just, everything keeps getting worse.
Yeah. He's in serious denial.
But I was happy that Claudia was able to like kind of voice the pain that and why in a sense she's doing all this crazy shit. But of course Lestat just has to push her button by calling her a mistake. And you know, I don't even know, just this is the scene where it kind of I got the like, I was like, oh, she's also Lestat's child, because she brings up the fact that Lestat has a girlfriend outside.
Yeah, that's so funny because right after she admits that she kind of rambles and like she's trying to make one, like so that she could have a companion, like who's always age appropriate. She's like, you deny us love when you have two. You would deny me one love when you have two. And I think it's funny that he had said just a moment before that he likes women with more meat on their bones because she cooks the white girl who sings torch songs with a flat, no nothing ass.
Like, sure, that's what you like. Like, get out of here, Lestat. Get out of here.
So petty for that. She was so petty.
Just petty. Anyway. But I also find it hilarious that he's not noticing Claudia's out here like scoping him.
Exactly. Like that is like, that goes under the radar. Like,
and Louis don't care. Like, it's almost like Lestat would be happier if Louis was the one who realized he was not cheating, but you know, quote unquote, stepping out, and he would want him to be mad. But Louis don't. That's just how checked out Louis is with his relationship with Lestat. Let's see. She's like, he thinks you're a housewife. He thinks I'm a mistake. Oh, Lord of mercy. And this causes her to run away.
Yeah. And she reminds him, I hadn't considered this, but she reminds him that she could have lived. Like, she wasn't dead.
But she would have looked like brisket, though.
Right. But that would have been her, I guess, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, right, you get what I'm saying? It's like you would say that you would rather her be dead than be disfigured or something. You get what I'm saying? So like, I hadn't considered that. I love when she brings that up. Like, maybe you should think about the fact that you could have ran me to a hospital.
Or like she said, giving her blood. Like, they didn't necessarily have to turn her. I mean, of course, he made Lestat turn her. But there were absolutely other options. Yeah.
Like, you did this to me. And ultimately, it's like the same thing Lestat did to him.
Yep.
Like, they're taking away like their choice. Right. Because you want company.
And that's it. And it's I could absolutely understand that craving, you know, because especially like as an immortal, because it seems all vampires for the most part are treacherous. So again, I also like to think of, you know, who Lestat's master was, how he came about, right? Right. Just from the little snippets of stories we've heard of how, you know, he was locked away by his real family, and then like his turned vampire family, obviously there's some fucked up shit going on there. So this whole concept of family that Louis is practicing is such an anathema to someone like Lestat. But he continues to play for Louis.
Have you read the book?
I feel like I read it in high school, but I cannot remember shit.
Okay. So it's just interesting because Donnie hadn't either. So it was interesting us watching it like one person who hadn't and like what you know. And honestly, I don't remember a lot of like the minute details of like who turned who and who, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because it is like a series. It went on to be like, I think the next book is called The Vampire Lestat. And
Well, this book I didn't. I mean, like again, if I did, it was probably like for high school class or some shit.
mm.
But I've read enough
So you
other
saw the
vampire
movie,
lore.
right? You saw
Yes,
the
I did
movie,
see the
right?
movie. Yes, I
Okay.
did see the movie. Don't remember the ending, which is weird. But I've read enough vampire. Like for the most part, vampire lores or mythology all largely come from Anne Rice. Like people have
Yeah, I
just
was just
sort of
gonna say,
like
like she wasn't this. I don't remember a lot of this being like stuff that like she didn't come out with the whole they sparkle in the sun like that type of
yeah.
shit.
I
I feel
mean,
like
yeah,
it's
that's just
always
people
been
being
pretty
terrible writers.
straightforward. Yeah, yeah,
Like she was more in the psychology of a vampire, and Stephanie
yeah.
Meyer was all like, "They glitter." It's like, bitch, what? Okay.
Although you know what, I don't remember. Do they have in this? I don't. From the what are we episode 5?
Mhm.
Are they doing the whole you have to be invited in thing?
I haven't seen that. It felt like it. Like I always
Mm.
assumed that's why. Um, like he had that when he had that out. Like I always assumed that's why he didn't want to sign over his home.
Ah, right. To the right.
But but they outside of like in the larger world of the show, they
That
haven't
makes
really
sense.
shown
We haven't.
instances.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
and,
sense because
and his mom,
if he
I'm
signed,
sorry, was also ain't shit.
yeah. But that's really interesting. I like that. That's really interesting because I hadn't considered that. If he signed it over, it would no longer be his home in more ways than one. Like he would never.
Exactly.
Yeah, they would be able to exclude him. Okay.
Yeah, which that like it's like yeah, I'm not signing. I'm not signing then.
Right.
Okay, let's see where am I in my nudes. So yeah, okay. So the one line that kind of ties the first half of this episode together is with Claudia leaving. Like Louis has this internal monologue because he can't answer. He can't give her the answer she wants about who she is. But he in
Mm-hmm.
his head, he's like, all vampires are born out of trauma, and yes, because
Mm-hmm.
you're literally killing someone to bring them back
Yeah.
to life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty terrible. That's pretty
Yep.
terrible. And then we jump back to present day at this point. We have Louis kind of saying we made her out of remorse. And I'm like, you're using that we very strongly there in regards to Lestat's involvement. But Louis continues his conversation with Daniel. Daniel is rude as fuck and says that she made Louis and Lestat into a bunch of existential queens. And I just be tired of Daniel so many times. He's just rude and does not care that Louis is a vampire. He wouldn't be this rude if that was Lestat he was talking to. He wouldn't be doing none of this shit.
Yeah.
This is the part we spoke about earlier of Daniel pointing out that, like, did we? Okay, but basically Daniel points
Well,
out,
yeah, the
like,
readers are going to decide what the story
yes,
is. Yeah.
because obviously
You
by
want to
declaring
kind of
to the
control the
world,
narrative. Mm-hmm.
you can't. You
Yeah.
can't. Like Louis like, well, I'm saying this to warn them. Like humans don't give a fuck. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you black man, what makes you think like the world cares about? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to
I mean,
face death.
yeah, he doesn't want Claudia to be like exploited. At least that's what he's saying. Like as to why, like we find out later, like he's like hiding certain stuff, like trying to protect her and like what
Mm-hmm.
happens to her. But I think Rashid also mentions earlier in the episode that even doing this, like if you publish this with his name and all this stuff, like vampires of the world are gonna, kill him for opening his mouth.
Yeah,
Right.
which
Like
again
they're gonna,
makes me wonder
yeah.
why. Like, what is like fuck humans, right? That's sort of as a human, I feel like that's been the point. Lestat has always been pushing that Louis is sort of fought against, and I don't know. I don't know who. No one is right exactly, and everybody needs to just go about their day and enjoy their lives with infinite money.
And
But
therapy.
and therapy, but that seems to be a problem. They
Right.
just can't. And back in the past, you've got Louis and Lestat settling into like this purgatory type of life without Claudia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
7 years.
they missed the roaring 20s because of this bullshit.
This was their COVID moment.
This was their COVID. They just had to be on lockdown.
They gained some weight. They took up gardening. They started learning a new language.
I wish they had done all of that. They turned into like hobos there. Like
They didn't clean that house
at all. I was just like, what is happening? But this is the point where I'm like, Lestat really loves this man because Lestat has been initially he was like, look, let's leave. Let's go to New York, blah, blah, blah. And Louis like, sure, let's go to Paris. And, Lestat's like, no, we're not going to Europe. Fuck Europe. For reasons. But regardless of all of that, Lestat stays. He stays in this messy ass house with Louis. And someone I think I saw on Twitter somewhere someone comparing it to like Grey Gardens, the movie. I was just like, two miserable ass people.
Oh my God.
Can't function. I was like, I see that. I really do see that. But
oh my God.
And it's like, yeah, they could clean that shit up in 2 minutes. So this is a choice.
I hadn't considered that. That's super stupid.
This is a choice to have the house look terrible, and I'm not for it. Even though I love all the books.
That freaking thick ass raccoon that was walking around, that shit bothers me. Like to this day, that will always haunt me. I'm like, why? Why do we need to see that?
I saw that and I got mad at Louis. I was like, this is your fault, Louis. Why are we living like this? We could be at the Waldorf in New York right now. But no, you want to be here like
you live like this.
like Claudia can't figure out the forwarding address. What is happening? This man is huh?
I'm sorry. I'm glad you said that because I was going to mention that before. I mean, we know he's doing it because, like, without saying it, he doesn't want to like not be there if she returns. Because we didn't really mention it, but she had gone silent, and he was like kind of broadcasting his thoughts to her, trying to like win her back, and she was purposely like tuning him out. So he doesn't have any other. Obviously always in the back of his head is like, if we go, what if she comes back and she can't find us? Yeah.
And I get that. I completely get that. But you
ain't got to do that in a dirty house.
In a dirty house with a raccoon walking back and forth.
Yeah. But I mean, this is his depression, right? Like, I guess, this is the depression talking. And like you said, I guess with the toxicity and all, there has to be some affection for Lestat to stay.
Yes, because he doesn't seem like a man who stays.
But he does seem like a man who cleans, or at the very least could pay for cleanings. But I don't get what's happening.
I'm not going to be the only one in the house cleaning, and you just like racking up books and laying raccoons at my front door. Like, we are cohabitating, not like toxic. They need therapy.
Therapy.
So she doesn't come back for 7 years, and then
she goes to college.
I mean, she's using her brain. She's learning, and they needed to let this child go eventually. She had literally been hanging out with her parents for a decade. Like, let her go. She needed to breathe.
There
You
are so many
know?
parents who wish their kids would run away from home and go to college.
Look, and they out here like, where my baby? What's she doing? I miss my baby. Like, Jesus Christ, let your child spread their wings a bit, and she will come back home for laundry eventually. I promise. Um, but we see what she's been up to. She's out here learning. Of course, I
Mhm.
love how they bring in the racial aspect of Claudia back because,
Yes.
at this
Yes.
time in America, like Black people were not allowed to attend universities and many colleges, which is sort of where HBCUs were born out of. So I like that tie into like real life shit.
Hmm.
And then we get the introduction of fucking Bruce, which
Okay.
that name should have said it all, honestly. Like, who was out here naming their
So
child Bruce?
I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to assume somebody listening is named Bruce right now.
I'm not. I'm just
I'm
saying,
sure
if
there
you
is.
are, how do you like the name? Are you loving
I'm
it, or are
sure.
you like, what are you doing with that? Uh,
He's gonna be like, my dad's named Bruce too. Damn it. Um. So, I'm sure because you're behind and you weren't watching this like with everybody else, or when it first aired with you know.
mhm.
You're probably avoiding stuff like articles and stuff like that.
It's like I'm
I
really not, but I'm also not seeking it out.
So I don't know if this was like apparently a big. I mean, and I understand why, like turning point for folks with the show, like this whole thing with Claudia and Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like remember when you asked me to come on, you said you could pick an episode. It was like 5 or 6. And
Mm-hmm.
I really love both of these episodes. Like, I think you're going to really enjoy episode 6. And there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. So yay for whoever talks about episode 6 with you. But
Uh-huh.
the reason I picked 5 was because of the ending. And
Mm.
also, I really wanted to hear your thoughts on what happens to Claudia here with Bruce. Because obviously, as you can imagine, like with Game of Thrones, there are some people who feel like, this is, rape is never necessary.
Nope.
And I used to be one of those people like, well, if it fits the story, and then kind of turned into one of those, yeah, no, there's no reason. Like, why? So I thought it was really curious that they did this, that they had her become a rape victim.
That's true. I am glad they didn't show it though.
Me too.
Even though some
Absolutely.
people are like, well, they show so much other violence, you don't need to show rape. Like, because again,
Yeah.
for the most part, not for the most part, but like rape is a violent, mentally traumatizing thing. You can see the physical act of the rape, but you can't necessarily see the effects of it. And I
Mm-hmm.
think by not showing it and just showing how Claudia reacts, because hopefully in my head canon, even though that happened, she did get away, and I hope she
Mm-hmm.
burned him at some point between like however she got away. I hope before she burned him alive. Like, that's my head canon
Right.
until
Right.
they say it's not. But yeah, I don't think they need to show it either. No one needs to see that because it was handled well. But I do always hate the trope of a woman having to like get to the next level of her life because of some sort of assault. But then I also
Yeah.
realized that
Like,
life.
yeah. Because like
Which
when
is
she comes back,
mhm,
again, everything I'm saying, like I'm talking from just the point of up to this episode.
mhm.
And I'm pretty much repeating everything I said on my podcast, like how I felt about it. Whether or not I change how I felt about it, would depend on, seeing episode 6 and 7. But
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
right now, it just feels like it felt unnecessary. And at this point, my hope was that I remember telling Donnie, because the way they do it is like, it's Daniel, the pages are ripped out of the diary.
Yes.
Like, this is where Daniel is like, what happened? And he goes, what happened? So of course everyone's thinking what happens when a man physically overpowers a woman, that he's alone with, we're all assuming like he raped her. I wondered if it was possible it was something else. Something else happened and he's protecting her.
That's definitely possible. I would like that take even better, because if we're to believe Bruce, she's older than him. So, and again, even though she's been very sheltered, she's still very brutal, and she survived 7 years on her own, even though not interacting with vampires. I would like to think, again, she is quite capable. But again, like you said, that all depends how episode 6 plays out, which I cannot. I'm excited to watch it after this. Honestly.
One other question. In this scene with Bruce, when he talks about his maker, I remember saying, again, I'm not saying how things turn out, whether I was proof, but when I remember saying to asking Donnie if he thought Lestat was this guy's maker.
I got that feeling a bit. Yeah.
Like when because he was European, when she described what she was running from, her maker, and she described Lestat, like he said, or I feel like one of the two said like, oh, that sounds like I can relate to that or something like that. And then he said like his maker was European. So I just wondered if
like there's a connection. Yeah. I
just wondered.
No, I got that vibe, but then like kind of later when you see how like Lestat is like, I don't want to go to Europe. I'm like,
yeah, like maybe. What is? Because that's his whole thing, right? She wants to travel and like meet other vampires, and like she's like, she wants to learn her history, her new history. She wants to go find her relatives. Yeah, and he's like afraid of something.
Yes, and they're not getting it. Even though they're getting it, they're not quite there yet.
Like, they're not quite. I think Claudia gets it more than Louie, but he's not getting. There's a reason that, like, what was he running from?
Maybe if Louie like ate like actual food, he'd be on shit a bit more. But
instead of the rats crawling in the bed.
Like, okay, this is what I said. Like, everyone is all like, but he's trying to be a better person. But like, this is my thing, right, Nina? Like, he's still fucking destroying an entire species, right? Because great, you don't want to fucking eat humans because you have feelings, but you gonna eat all the rats in fucking Louisiana. You gonna eat all the dogs, and like they deserve.
To be fair, I don't know if one vampire is enough to take out the entire rat population in a city.
I feel like it would make a dent.
Especially a dirty ass city like New Orleans in 1920.
I mean, that is true, but still,
there wasn't like street sanitation like there is now. I'm just saying. I feel like there were enough rats to go around.
Like, are they washing the rats before they bring it to him? Like, he's just out here with rat breath. Like, is he brushing? He better be brushing before he go to bed. Stop.
Okay, but also. Remember, he's getting his rats, or at least he was getting them from the rat catcher. So those rats were going to be put down anyway.
Okay, but like, are they washed before they bring them to him?
He don't give a shit. He's a vampire.
No, but like now he's drinking fucking humans with pineapple and honey. But before like the bougie come up, you were eating rats.
Listen. That's that's natural evolution of all beings. When you know better, you do better. You become a bit more civilized.
I mean, you go to brunch once and you know everything about food. Yes.
Exactly. Now you're a fancy bougie. Exactly.
I just highlight the rat eating time of his life. I was very disgusted with that. But however, like as soon as Bruce was like, yeah, I've heard your front, like, so it's like Lestat didn't tell Louie not to put out communications over vampire Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah, like, that he heard. And he'd been following her for months like a fucking creep.
Like not months, multiple colleges. Like that's gross as fuck. But again, we don't know how she got away at this point, but she got away. I'm happy, regardless of what took place. But after this moment, we go back to the present day. This is where like Daniel's like, I want the pages, and Louis takes control of his hand. And I guess this is all a control thing, right? Because he starts hitting Daniel's hand, and then Daniel slaps him. And I was like, Daniel, calm the fuck down.
But you know what? I'm sorry. I defended Daniel before. My feelings have not changed. This is really fucked up.
No, it's fucked up. You're taking control away.
You called me here to retell me your story that you barely told me decades ago, right? Like, you admit that was some bullshit. So now we're setting the record straight, and we're both like, open book and no more lies, and let's do this. But you want to withhold pages. And I don't feel like I don't think he was, I think we had one of our listeners wrote in and said that they thought Daniel was being kind of like perverted and overstepping in his want to get the information, like to know what, specifically happened to her. But I didn't see it that way.
That's his job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so why am I here if at any time you decide you can just not tell me something accurately, like withhold stuff, like then you're lying. Like that's not, and then to say, well, it's not my story to tell, like it's Claudia's, but you've already included her. You have given me access to this information. Like, I'm sure she wouldn't want me to read any of this, but you're picking and choosing of her experiences.
Even though she was fine with her experiences. Yeah.
Right. Like, you weren't raped. Like, this isn't like you. So I don't know. I felt like, and then to like you said, go into his head and like take away his control is just really fucked up. And I feel like he knew he deserved that slap because Daniel's still breathing.
Yes, that is true. And I completely agree with all of that. Maybe I would just be a bit more timid if someone can break my neck in 2.3 seconds. True. But that I'm just a scaredy cat like that. But you don't take away someone's consent, right? Like that's what all of this is about. Whether it's through Claudia.
True.
Yeah, like whether it's through Claudia or it's Daniel, you don't take away someone's consent. Yeah, so that was...
And I think it's particularly like gross because also of his condition, right? Because he has Parkinson's. And so he was making hand change.
That's true. I forgot that
part. I mean, he's like mimicking his illness.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. I did forget that part as well. Okay, yeah, and from there... we get a continued escalation of our favorite odd couple. Let's see.
He's been neglecting Lestat. Lestat wants to go out, and he delivers one of my favorite lines, where he says, "His considerables continue to be squandered."
I felt for Lestat, even though he's out there signaling his side hoe that he'll be down soon. He's a petulant fucking child,
He really is. This was basically him making excuses, like unbeknownst to Louis. This was basically him excusing the betrayal he was about to do. He's like, You're not paying me any attention. That's why I'm doing this thing that you don't know I'm doing.
And or maybe he does just really rude of Louis. Yeah. Like you like break up then. Break up, Louis. Because you can't. Because this is just I don't have patience for this in a relationship. Like you're either gonna be in it or you can I could change the locks.
Do you think Louis knows that he's meeting that chick outside?
Yes, and I think Louis does not care, which. Just kind of makes Lestat even more mad because it's one thing to love you or hate you, but indifference is really fucking the worst.
They're so toxic.
They're absolutely toxic. This is a terrible relationship. I love it. Okay, so Lestat is sad. That's what I wrote. Because he continues to be ignored by Louis. Lestat is sad. Oh, and then we
This
get
is
a goodbye. Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said that's what you wrote. Look, this is what I wrote in that scene. Louis
What did
thinks
you
he
write?
knows what Claudia has been doing, but Lestat wants to go out.
Yeah.
Because Louis was looking through the newspapers and he was seeing that at college campuses, there were like people going missing or something. And he was thinking that's her. And he was right. But Lestat was like, fuck that. I want to go see a play. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And like Louis don't. And it's like Lestat could have left. Lestat, you could have left at any, but like if Lestat left, Louis would still not give a fuck. And I think deep down he knows that. So leaving wouldn't do anything. Because again, what the fuck, Louis? What the fuck? Like Louis toxic, and even though he's a cute fucking puppy dog, his toxicity is still in this situation. Like it's not all on Lestat.
Yeah, I look, I want to just say for the record, like, I don't think this is spoilery at all. But one thing I love about almost every bit of press that I've seen Jacob Anderson, who plays Louis, do for this show is he absolutely advocates for Louis to seek therapy. Like, this isn't just Lestat is toxic. Louis has shit. Like there's so
from
much
his mother, from Paul, from his sister.
Sexuality, exactly. There's so much stuff. Like it's like I'm not. Lestat is abusive. They're my.
Like they both brought their trauma and their baggage into this. Like it's almost like they were trying to like escape their trauma, but like if you don't deal with your trauma and you then get into a relationship, you're still bringing your trauma in there.
Or just kind of even contain it, right? Like you're searching for a person that can handle your shit, your toxicity, like, and keep it like within that. What's their address? 1132 Rue Royale. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you take your trauma, mix it with my trauma, our bullshit, and we won't address any of it. We just keep it within this little universe. And then unfortunately, they brought a child into it.
Yes. And it's a shit show.
You know, it's just a big old fucking mess. So yeah, I just say that to say that, like, I know there are Lestat fans, and again, top 3 show of 2022. Love this show. But even Jacob Anderson thinks that Louis needs.
Yeah, like even again, like I said, even before you bring in Lestat, like there was a lot of shit that Louis was gonna take into any future relationship he would have, because his mama definitely did a number on him. Like I think that is for certain, because you don't have him be the man of the house and then judge him and ignore the shit he does for the house as the man of the house, and then you don't say to your child, "I wish you had died instead of your brother."
That was some terrible shit.
Like that was really fucking terrible.
Again, I'm sorry. And for you people listening at home, I'm sorry. You're like, your emojis I talk to emoji probably 5 days out of the week. Like we talk every day.
You talk to me more than anyone else in life, honestly.
But we also, like, because we're studying, we study like an hour to an hour and a half a day together, right?
Yes.
But I can admit here to my friend, I don't listen to podcasts anymore. So I will go on my friend's podcast. I will share I will encourage other people to come listen to your podcast, but I will not listen because I just don't have time.
Well, so you're missing out on hours of Jawan calling me toxic because I constantly defend this.
Jawan is always wrong. He is always wrong. So always. But so when I'm here, I'm like, oh, what did you think about this? So that's why I'm asking this stuff. So you guys are like, but she already told us. I don't know, because I didn't listen. Do you think the Lestat has something to do with his brother's death?
Oh, absolutely. The cynic in me, absolutely. Because it did feel like he was fucking around in his head.
Because right. Because I rewatched, like, I'm watching it with my daughter, and oddly enough, this is where we stopped. So I was rewatching it, and just like picking up different stuff that I hadn't before, and there's that scene where the brother was like trying to lecture the sex workers. He's like, don't be hoeing out here. Jesus doesn't like hoes or something, whatever he said.
Yes.
And he was saying how the voices in his head were telling him this is what he needed to do. And then he starts to say, but there's one voice in particular. And then that's when Louie pulls the knife on him. And I just wondered like what that, because we know that Lestat can do that, right? I've always wondered about that. So I was just curious if you have.
Okay. I mean, yes, the cynic in me does think like Lestat possibly could have had something to do with that, but we also know that Paul has had these moments of just mental imbalance in his life. So, and
also
again,
it happened at sunrise, right?
Lestat would have been asleep. Yeah,
he should have been asleep. Okay, my bad. Okay, never mind.
No, but I could see, but I don't think that negates either. Like Lestat could have still been fucking with his mind at some point, but that doesn't necessarily mean Lestat told him to jump off a roof, because again, those issues were already in Paul's mind.
Right. Because it just, I don't know, we talk about him being abusive and stuff, and you hear about how abusers try to isolate the people from your family and friends.
Oh yeah, that'd be right on track. But and again, he absolutely could have done it, and that wouldn't surprise me just as much as he might not. It's almost like the Damon factor, right? You just, at the end of the day, you just assume if someone dies, it's their fault, whether or not.
Probably Damon. We just
we just don't know. So it's possible, and I feel like that would hurt Louis if he ever found that out.
Absolutely.
But also, if let's say he didn't, like regardless, Lestat has wanted Louis gone from here, but he hasn't forced them out, right? Like his family has done more forcing Louis out than Lestat ever has. It feels like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's complicated. With the second half of the show, with Louis and Lestat settling into like their form of hell, and Claudia going out into the world and seeing how things are and discovering vampires, with the past then also closing with his sister calling him and being like, come through, and what we basically see is Louis' death scene in a way, like his sister's moving up north, their mom is dead, and we see a tombstone with his name, and she's kind of like, this is how it has to be. Do you think this is how it has to be?
If I'm not mistaken, like I'm looking at my notes here, and it says she had him declared dead October 1930. So, but for some reason, again, like I watched this a while ago, when is this exactly? Like I was trying to remember, like my feeling was that the date on the tombstone was a bit ago from when he actually saw it. Like she had him declared dead. You know what I mean? Like, it had been a minute, but I'm not exactly sure. Or if the date just kind of orients us to where we are in the story. Like that's what I'm trying to remember why I have the date written here. I couldn't remember.
Because him and Louis do miss, or him and Lestat do miss the Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s, right.
So, like, and even if it's set in the 1930s, like, it could be, like, further into, like, she had it pre-made.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Because a lot of this show, I find, like, you're picking up where you are from, like, their dialogue, if that makes sense, or even him reading from her diaries and the date shown there. Because I do think if I remember correctly, when he starts reading the diaries, like we see the last one is in like 32, I think.
Okay, do you remember? I didn't notice for the diary.
Yeah, because Rashid told him, I suggest you start from the left. So, of course, Daniel went to the right.
Like, fuck you, Rashid.
Like an asshole. He goes to the book on the far right, and he opens it, And it's like, we finally arrived in Paris, and I feel like it was like 32, maybe 42, but I think 32. And then he closes it, and then he goes to the left and he picks up the first one.
Okay, so it's probably between 28 and 31.
Yeah. Okay, but either way, she had him declared dead, which is really fucking sad.
Yeah, it really is. And she said she sold a house or something. They're moving up north. Yeah. They don't need his money. Regardless of if she said she don't need his money, I can't wait to find out how rich his descendants are, because I'm like Louie. I know definitely set them up. There's no way he didn't set up his like, even if she didn't want shit, they good for life.
Yeah. I like
each generation is just going to find out there's a rich uncle they never knew about.
Right. We have, because she had the twins, and then she had the baby that he almost ate.
Yeah, the baby that probably smelled like a cookie. Like, I said, I'm not even a vampire. I'm not even a vampire.
No, you know that baby smells delicious.
Yes, oh my God. Babies do smell delicious. So this is like, I understand his struggle.
But I love when he came home and he was like, I almost ate my nephew, Lestat. Like,
and Lestat
was again talking about traveling or some shit.
I cannot. Like, the both of them, like, I'm rooting for them, but I'm not.
So much unaddressed trauma. He's never addressed the fact that he almost ate his nephew.
Look. Anyway. I mean, he never would have ate his nephew if he was out there feeding on regular sized human beings, but
this is true too. That's true too.
But just problems all around. Around. Find out if the person you're in love with is a vegan or not beforehand. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, his sister's moving up north with this is basically his last human relationship. And
yeah, good point.
Louie is incapable of pulling the trigger, and his sister, in this sense, kind of pulls it for him. So Louie is terrible at breaking up with people, is my point.
Yep.
He just leaves everything in limbo. You can't do that with people. You can't do that indefinitely. You got to make up your mind.
He tried. He really tried to, like, he wanted his cake. Like, he wanted to, like, still be her brother, still be the son, still be the uncle, have access to them, but
divulge zero information.
Right, like, he could, but like Lestat tried to tell him that's impossible. You can't go over there like on a whim. Like, they can't, in the middle of the day, they can't call and say, "Can't Uncle Louie come out?" You can't be that type. You can't participate in the family the way they want you to. So you're being selfish. You should just let them go, because just still knowing you're alive and in town is hurting them,
Yeah. So, and I'm not going to lie, because my family don't listen to this podcast. I have family members like that who don't understand why I've kind of cut them off, because it's like a relationship can't be one-sided and based on your availability.
Oh my God, you're totally talking about me. Oh my God.
No, bitch, no. You are actually more available than my actual family.
No, but I mean, like, my family is probably talking about me like that. Like, they're probably like, "Yeah, I got that one cousin. She just, if we don't talk on Facebook, she never calls."
And they're probably saying it about me as I say it about them. But if the vibe is not right, like, instead of struggling, in my opinion,
he should let this go.
You need to let shit go. Because again, I've just realized it doesn't mean you're not going to come back together. Like, this life is, I think, like, after, like, I turned 30 something or whatever, like, you just kind of realize, oh shit, what if I don't die early?
Right.
What if I live until I'm fucking 70, 80, or 90? Like, you don't think that until a certain point in life. And just actually the idea of living is kind of scarier than, like, oh, what if I'm not here? Because it's like, I have to figure out a way to deal with this bullshit for however many decades.
Living is just really trying to figure out a whole lot of bullshit every day. To get to the next
and how to not flip the table, and like you said, Louie kind of wants to have his cake and eat it too, with immortality. And it's like, you can't you have to let your family go, but he can't, and they have now decided to let him go. And that kind of broke my heart because I did love his sister. I think he could have been honest with her about like being a vampire. Do you think he could have been honest?
They were really religious though, Emoji.
His mama was really religious. I feel like his mama calling him the devil would have never accepted him, but I think like before he broke the door, if he had a conversation with his sister.
You say it like he broke the handle before he kicked the door off the entire fucking frame.
You're right. He kicked the door off its frame and hinges, you know. If he had, because it's like, in my head, vampirism, whatever, I take it as an allegory for just your child being the other. If my child came to me and was like, yo, mama, I'm like a vampire, I'd be like, oh, what we about to do? Like, I'm not, like, I will love my child above all else. Like, I don't care if my child comes to me saying they're, like, now, like, pansexual, gay, like, all
I was going to say, I feel like they would probably have more of a problem with him being gay than being a vampire.
Right? Yeah. You know, his mom would probably just throw a lot of holy water at him. But I do think he didn't give his sister a choice. And regardless of what you think, if you don't give people a choice, like, then they are left with, But Lestat was right. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got
Nope.
But he stayed with him in Louisiana for like a century, it feels like a long time.
Yeah, wow,
So, sadness. His sister leaves him. Then we find out that Claudia. Huh?
I said, but then he gains a sister.
Yes, and I love how that plays out because we find out like Claudia's been following Louis, and this scene gives her purpose. Right? Because she's always wanted to know, why was I created? What's the point of me? What do I bring into this family? Right? Yeah. And that's a perfect analogy for family. Everyone has their role in family, but if you don't allow people to be their role, or if you don't give people a sense of purpose, what's the point? Then it's just like we just have the same last names. Like, I like to think of family as a gang, you know? For better or for worse, a gang, yes, you know, and there's a lot of, brainwashing that comes through like parents and childhood, and the hope is to get to the other side, but to be an individual, but hopefully be in like a familial setting where you still have a purpose, right?
Right.
And I think that's kind of what like Claudia finds in this scene. Right, where by following Louis around town and watching his heart break.
But wait, am I not remembering this correctly, or because this is her voiceover, right? And it's presumably from her journals, right? She said that she'd been following both of them.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting that she was following both of them.
Right? And are they not again not noticing?
Right? Stealthy ass fucking Claudia.
Like, they're really clueless out here. They are way too comfortable in Louisiana. And this is why the cops had all that bravado. Y'all are just not caring. But yeah, so she's been following them around, and when his sister announces she's moving out of town, she realizes her purpose was to be Louis' sister. And she returns home. And
fucking dramatic ass Lestat. Oh my fucking God.
With a literal record scratch. I hate him. I hate him so much.
The look on his face, he was looking like, oh, so y'all just hugging. Like,
this is what we doing.
Everything's okay. Yeah, this is what we doing. We hugging now.
He's so angry. He's like this bitch.
He's so petty.
Oh my God.
I like that she apologized, right? Like, this was so good. Like, her first words out of her mouth, that she was sorry, that she wasn't in her right head, right? But she is now. And I feel like not maybe in this moment, but in this scene later, she says something about okay, I'm going to totally butcher it because I'm paraphrasing, but this was another problem I had with them writing her being raped, because she says something like discovering, like her hardships kind of like molding her like to who she is or some shit like that. And I just really hate that. I hate that whole idea that, but anyway, but here she apologizes because she did, like she could have ruined everything for them acting out. And Lestat's like, apology not accepted.
like that's his truth. Like,
you are a grown ass man.
Like, that is your child for all intents and purposes.
I know. Like, come on.
Like, she's actually, like, he turned her. So, in fact, she is more his child than actually Louis' child.
Absolutely.
But he really be out here, like, treating her like competition. And that's where he kind of fucked up. Because she's not competition.
Yep.
You know? Like, his relationship with Louis is completely different from the relationship Louis has with Claudia, but he's just like, nah, fuck that. You're not allowed to have hobbies outside of me. And it's like, no, that's toxic. That's not how we do this. So, yeah, like you said, he immediately is like, fuck your apology, I decline. And this has already been a stressful episode. I was not expecting what the last 10 minutes was. I was like, we've been through Bruce, we've been through his sister breaking up with him, we've been through him becoming a hoarder. Like, I am tired. But
I meant to say this earlier. One of the things I really loved about watching this show was I would always forget how gory it is.
Yes.
Like, you would watch an episode, and again, it's just like a family drama, but with vampires.
Yeah.
So you kind of forget that they're vampires, and then you have a moment like when he turned Louie and he just punches the priest through the back of the head, and like this comes out his face.
Yes.
But this was one of those moments where I could feel like this was building and that there was going to be a fight. Not even a fight. Like I like, shit's gonna come to a head. But like I wasn't expecting this level of, like, I wasn't expecting him to be dragging Louie across the floor using his fucking chin.
He held him like they tell you to like hold like cats, like kittens and puppies. But
yes,
that's how their parent would carry and it does work.
Yes.
Like, you just carry them kind of like with their jaw or some shit, but like, my God, that's your lover, not your child, even if you turn them.
The show, I kind of did love though how the show could do that, how it could just go from like one thing and then you're just like, oh wow, okay.
Look, and again with the background music they choose, like
shout out to the music. Yes, it was epic. It was so good though. So good.
Most of the episode was just like hijinks, and then the last quarter was like Tony being Tony being jumped by Captain America and Bucky.
Yes, exactly.
Like, what is happening? But she comes back and Louie is so happy, and she's like, "Wow, I guess y'all are still the same, except you need a housekeeper now." I said, that sounds right. That sounds about right. When you're not there as their child, your parents don't really feel the need to keep up pretenses. It's like my apartment never being clean except when people come through. But she's back. She tells them she's done some learning and she wants to go to Europe. What? Okay. Why does she want to go find other vampires so bad?
Because she wants to know where she's from. Because that's just human. That's just not even human. Obviously, that's just nature. Like you seek out people like you, people that can understand. She doesn't have anybody. Like she said, they have each other. She has nobody. She can't ever have a human, right? She can't ever have a human be her person, whether it be a lover, a friend, company, book club, none of that. That could never happen for her. So she wants to go find others. And then you have Lestat, who's this toxic, lying, abusive motherfucker telling you, the one thing you want, if you go look for it, is going to be absolutely terrible. You're going to, blah, 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 you know, of course she doesn't believe him, you know, so she's trying to find out. And then that's why I love what she said to him. If the shit that I read is bullshit, then tell me.
That's true.
But he doesn't, you know, because he's playing games.
And I don't understand if the games he's playing is truly born. Like, I feel the games he's playing is truly born out of a fear even he can't, like, comprehend.
Right. I agree with that. Like, I don't know that he's necessarily just not telling her to be mean or petty. Like, it probably is, or at least he thinks his reason is right.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Because if he truly hates her, he could just be like, go to Paris, turn left, and this is like the coven of European. Like, if he truly hated her, he could just be like, here you go. Here's a first class ticket. So it's complicated in the way only family can be complicated and messy and toxic. It's like, and it's terrible. I feel like this is a highlight into my toxic ass upbringing because it's all toxic. But you still love these motherfuckers, and you hate that you love these motherfuckers, and you want to bring them with you. But at some point, you gotta, like, for your own sanity, thank you, therapy, you do have to create boundaries so people don't like pull you down into like the trauma of like their own toxicity that they're not even comprehending.
And like Claudia tells him in this scene, right? Like she says, his love is a box like that he just keeps you in. Like you're not, you know, it's like, she's like, come with me and let's be like vampires worthy of your love. Like, let's be better.
But I also kind of found that slightly manipulative of Claudia, right? Because you're coming back saying, yes, and this is where I say, in a sense, she's more like Lestat than like folks are seeing, or like just the general thought would be, because it's like you come back, Claudia comes back and she's like, oh, Louie, I'm back. And she apologized to Lestat, but then she's immediately like, I'm here to take Louie. Like,
you know, because what it is this, she's the friend that's had therapy. She's had a little bit of therapy. Yes. And like, she knows enough that this is toxic and that this isn't right. Right. And also we know that she's been following both of them. Yes. Right. So I feel like she probably knows he's still out there fucking with what's her face. Right. And she wants better for him.
No, she does.
But Louie hasn't had any therapy, so he doesn't see it yet.
She's had enough therapy to know this is toxic, but not enough therapy to know you don't say that in front of the abuser.
Right. She has absolutely underestimated how fucking spiteful and strong Lestat is.
Yeah,
because she's still young.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is,
you know, like, still in that fucking trying to find out phase. Yeah.
Like, from this point on to the end of the episode, my hand is just covering my mouth when I was watching it because I was like, please stop. Because, you know, it just becomes a screaming match. Like, as soon as she says that, Lestat goes on, like, the attack mode, like, because you just literally threatened to take away the only thing he gives a fuck about. Like, his shoot toy. Like, no. And this also, by putting Lestat in attack mode, he goes at Claudia, which that's literally also the only thing Louie cares about.
Yeah.
So in trying to, like, everyone is triggered, put it that in a very simplistic way. And
he's still toxic through the whole thing. He's like, look what you're making me do.
Yeah, like, this is all your fault. I'm like, none of this is Louis' fault. Like, y'all could have probably, like,
I'm only doing this because you don't love me the way I need you to love me. So look what you're making. I've been restraining, like, holding my tongue.
Look, but, and I'm a vain bitch. I say this enough, right? Like, because in a sense, you got to be your biggest cheerleader, right? Like, no one will ever love you as much as you can love you. But Lestat doesn't realize that. Like, Lestat, no one will ever love you as much as you fucking love you, Lestat. even if Louie loves him 3,000, he ain't never gonna love Lestat as much as Lestat loves Lestat.
Right. Yeah.
And this just is like an unending cycle. But the ass whooping or the fighting, the domestic abuse that comes from this scene, I was not expecting. Because as soon as
Yeah.
Lestat goes for Claudia, Louis goes for Lestat, and they just wreck house.
Yeah. It was really, I like how they did it though, because you didn't see a lot of it.
Yes. But you felt it.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Like the energy was palpable. I felt like, oh my God, please stop fighting. Like I felt like mommy and daddy.
Superman manhandling Batman.
Yes.
Someone
even
who could
though
fly.
Like Batman talks a lot of shit.
Right. Right. You're just gonna put through walls and shit because your opponent can fly and you can't.
Oh my! Did you ever read Injustice, Nina?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's the one where like Lois Lane, the Joker kills Lois Lane, and then like while she was actually pregnant with Superman's baby, and like Superman is just like, fuck all y'all, I'm done with this playing nice. So
fair.
It's this Tom Baker run of like Superman after Lois's death just becoming like an authoritarian and being like, y'all gonna listen, I'm not playing with y'all no more. And like initially everyone is with him, and then like Batman of course is like, nah, I'm not in this. You doing a lot, Kal-El. And like by the end of it, Superman like breaks Batman's back. Like
Jesus Christ.
Like it's a very morose, like people always like, I wish Superman would go dark. Like the Injustice run is if Superman just did everything we actually wanted. He was like, fuck Joker, you dead, I'm gonna kill you. Like all y'all are listening. It was just like tragic. And it's like, be careful what you wish for. But in terms of like Interview with the Vampire, the fighting, but us also again not seeing it, it's a great point. Like we don't need to see the violence to see the impact the violence has. Like the house is a hot mess. The house is.
And we're seeing it through Claudia, who is again. I have to keep pointing out she's still pretty much. She's young, I should say at this point. Maybe not necessarily. Yeah. She's a child, yeah. And you see that in like when Louis, because they can communicate telepathically where Lestat can't, not with them. Him telling her, it just reminded me like of an abused mom telling her kids, it's okay, don't come in. Yeah. We're just arguing, like, like him trying to shield her from that while they were fighting. Yeah.
I hate that I felt every single moment of that. Like, again, like I laugh and I joke but I do all of that because in my head, like life is a comedy and comedies are tragedies, if that makes sense. Like, such horrible shit will happen in your daily life, but like, you'll probably still laugh one time in 24 hours.
Right. Yeah. You kind of have to release that pressure somewhere. Yes. And sometimes that's the way it comes out. Yeah.
But it's still brutal to fucking see. Like, I hate everything about this. I hate Lestat at this point. I'm just like, die. Again, the only reason I am not completely off Team Lestat is because I have not watched episode 6 to see how this concludes. Because I'm like, they're either going to have to kill Lestat or I don't know.
I'm so curious to see your thoughts going forward because it was we on our podcast, me and Donnie were just like, where do you go from here? Like, how do you come back from?
And I just want them to be happy and in love. Like, that's all I want is for them to be happy and in love. Yes, God damn it.
My favorite part is when he's dragging him outside and she's like, Uncle Les, and he's like, oh, so now
now you want to call me Uncle Les?
2 minutes ago, I was that motherfucker who kept him in a box, but now I'm Uncle Les.
He is so angry at them. And I'm not saying he don't have points. Because from the very beginning, when they turned this child, and Louis and her were doing that mind reading, and Lestat said, don't do that shit. Be family.
He's like, I see where this is going. Cut this shit out.
And it was going exactly where it ended.
Yep.
That's what happened. But yeah, no, him dragging Louis, just dragging him and then being like, fuck you, bitch, and then flying.
Yes.
Like his name is
Yep.
Superman. Just
I'm telling you, it was very Superman versus somebody who's not Superman. Like, it was so unfair.
Louis like, you could do
Do
this?
this.
Oh my god. But
But I
he
love that
flies.
Louis didn't. He was like broken, right? Oh, this is so corny. I can't believe I'm about to say it. But like he was. I'm also really high. He was broken. Like he didn't break him. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like, tell me from your lying lips that you never loved me. And Louis is like, motherfucker, let me go. Like you're dramatic ass.
But okay, so and I felt for both of them because it's like again, like when you wait, let me give you my explanation. It's like when like I understand the insecurity and Lestat's puny mind because it's like he loves him. It's toxic as fuck. It's not respectful. It's not equal. It's secretive. It's everything bad. But for whatever reason, in this point, we're supposed to like know that Lestat is not really someone who finds companionship easy for whatever reason, whether it's because Jacob Anderson / Louis is fine as fuck, whatever reason, he is like, Louis is my happy place, right?
Right.
And for the last 10, 20 years of just Louis not giving a fuck about him, that has obviously hurt his feelings very, very much.
Here's the thing. I don't think that that's true, though. Like, I don't think...
You don't think his feelings is hurt by Louis' nonchalant?
His feelings are hurt. His feelings are hurt, and he's entitled to his feelings, but that don't make them right. Like, your feelings can be hurt by his actions, but that doesn't mean like that he doesn't love you, because clearly he fucking does.
No, absolutely.
And I feel like he knows that, but you want to punish him because this child said some true shit to your face, and because you watched this man nearly die for 7 years, right? Like, oh, excuse me, yes, without her, right? And then like she comes back and he's instantly happier. I still think Louis needs therapy. Yes. And you are offended by her walking in the room, completely changing him and dropping facts. Like you're just in your feelings. This is your ego talker. That don't give you the right to like nearly kill this man and drag him up in the sky. And then the thing that to get you to stop is tell me you never loved. No, I did love you. Let me the fuck go and stop being a fucking drama queen, you abusive piece of shit. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right. But that's, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all, because it's like Lestat was asking for out. Like, you tell me you tell me you never gave a fuck, then I will not feel like such an asshole for the fact that like I have ruined everything. It absolves him of, it's almost like I'm just reacting because you never were honest about not loving me. And it's like that, like someone can love you and not be there for you. Someone can love you but just be an asshole at the same time. Like love is not pure. It's not selfless. It's not blah, blah, blah. But Lestat was really looking for like absolution.
I feel like they both engaged in stuff like they knew probably wasn't the best idea. Like Claudia, like prime example, with ulterior motives, right? You thought it was going to like fix the relationship and make him, and make you happy and give you the feeling. I was about to say, like, Louis knew that that girl was not going to make Lestat happy. Like that wasn't for Lestat. That was for him. But at the same time, Lestat did it because he wants to keep Louis around.
Yes. And that's not how you don't keep people around with babies.
Exactly. And so now this is the consequences of all of that.
Yeah. And I say that as the last child of my mother and father. I always tell, I've told my mother in her face, like, so I was the mistake baby that y'all should not have been. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Claudia's the mistake baby, and no one likes to.
She just left her alone. I'm
Look,
so excited for you to watch these last 2 episodes.
you don't even know how excited. And again, like that's why I'm not even mad that it's taking me forever to finish it because I know once it's gone, it's done, and I'm not ready yet.
You're gonna have to savor it. Are you watching the Mayfair Witches?
I am not. What's that about?
Okay, so Anne Rice has another series of books about witches called the Mayfair. Oh fuck, I can't remember. It might just be the Mayfair Witches. But anyway, in the first episode of this, they actually reference it when they're at the table. When Louie's at the breakfast table with his family, and we learn that his sister's getting married, and Paul is like, Paul doesn't like, because the fiance's religion is different, I think, and he's like, when they get married, he's gonna make you jump over a broom or something, and then he says something like, there are plenty of brooms down at the Mayfair.
Yeah, and she's like, Mama, he's calling me a witch.
Exactly. Yeah, because she has another series of books called The Mayfair Witches, and the show for that premieres this month, like in a week or two. And so that's why they're calling it the Immortal, what do they call it? Universe. AMC has the Anne Rice's Immortal Universe because they're adapting her works on their network. So
well, I'm looking at the cast list on IMDb right now. It seems very melanin lacking, but I'll
yeah, there's like one black guy.
Lord have mercy.
There's one black guy, and then I saw Harry Hamlin, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm good, but I'm gonna give it a shot because this was so good.
Okay.
And I'm curious. So we're podcasting.
My witches. You guys are podcasting it?
Yeah. If it sucks, then I'll stop. You know, I don't play that. I'm not wasting my time. But yeah, we're gonna give it a shot.
Okay. I will check it out because, like, I am a vampire fan and a witch fan. Like, I feel like no one has topped The Craft yet. You don't know how many times that was. Yeah. In terms of like, racial realness and blah blah blah. That was a top peak cult film. But okay, I'll check it out. But okay, Interviews with Vampire ends up ending with Louis saying "drop me" and Lestat drops him. Like, and he falls so far. Like, he was outside of the atmosphere.
Yeah, this was ridiculously high. It made no sense.
None whatsoever. And his asshole self drops him. And like Claudia runs to like where he has fallen, like a fucking fallen angel. And he just looks like every type of battered. Like he's been drained, he's been punched, dropped, like just everything terrible. And Lestat's ass he glides down in his all black outfit. Like he just didn't do this shit. And Claudia's just looking at him like, I'm gonna stab the fuck out of you.
And so you're still Team Lestat, right?
I'm not Team Lestat by the end. I am Team Therapy by the end.
By the end, it's like, I need you to get some help.
Look, I just need a fairy tale ending where this magically fixes itself.
I cannot wait for you to watch the next two.
Oh,
it's so
good. Again, I still think like Louie and Claudia find a way to kill him, but I also hope that's not true. Like, because I would love to see like Lestat in 21st century, like with the iPhone, like.
He's on Tinder.
With an iPhone and therapy. You know,
he's on Tinder and Grindr.
Oh God, no. I don't know. I just, you know what it is. I just hope that they grow, they leave each other, they grow, they understand where they fucked up, and they come back together healed with the power of therapy. Now,
wow.
I doubt that.
You've not read Anne Rice books, huh?
I might not have. But
so I can say now that's not going to happen.
Oh no.
Lofty goals and all, but nah. No, but no, it's so good. That's all I will say. It's so good.
And I'm here
I'm very
for.
much.
I will be here for it, even though I'm crying.
Yeah. And you'll be, I mean, I see why this show was renewed before it debuted. It's just, I think it's, again, top 3 of what I watched this year. This is
I
one of them.
agree.
It was so, the writing, the acting,
And
it's
like
just
Jacob
really good.
Anderson. And honestly, watching this just made me even more angry at Game of Thrones, just
Yes.
having him
Yes.
like do nothing. Like fuck them,
Exactly.
D&D.
Yeah.
Because you had gold.
Yeah.
Like someone gave you a white man gold with no work, and you were just like,
Yeah.
anyway, let me not. I'm gonna get angry. But I love this show. I love all the actors. Like like the plot. Like it's one of those shows. I feel like if you go back, you'll catch more things. Um,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
just and it's also like two hot men at the
Yep.
end of the day,
Yep.
which I am always here
Yep.
for.
Yep.
Always.
And
And
that
I
guy,
love
Sam Raimi, he kind of reminds me of the other guy, the other Sam from your other show.
it. Sam Hewen.
Yeah, but I think this
Oh,
guy's cuter.
oh yeah. Sam Hewen like is kind of falling off in my eye. Like he became like he super started working out and shit, and I was just like, relax, my guy. And then
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the spiciness
Sometimes it can
level
be too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
it got to too much. Like, ooh, are you going
Mm.
like just you don't need to do all of this. Like you don't
Yeah.
literally need to like be able to lift the earth. Like relax. And like the show itself has gotten like less spicier. And
When is the next? Because I saw it was like season 7.
I didn't even click that article because I'm not ready for them yet. They lying.
Oh.
It's gonna be sometime in 2023. But I'm still
Mhm.
kind of like last season was very like platonic.
Mm.
Like it kind of like now Sam Hewen and Catriona Balfe are like executive producers of the shows, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with actors having a voice or a piece of the cast, but
Mhm.
that's definitely going to change the dynamics of what an
Oh,
actor is willing.
they're like, I'm not showing titty and ass no more.
No
I'm an
more
executive
titties and
producer.
ass, none whatsoever, none whatsoever, and I'm like I read every book in this series. Like Sam, like the
Mhm.
actors, like the characters they play, they be 60 and be like fucking in the barn. So like age was never really like a restriction on their
Right.
sex life. But the show is like we old now. We don't
Then they
fuck.
got all the so then they got all the younger people doing the fucking.
No,
It's
they don't. They don't either.
they
That's
don't even. Oh
oh, they only
wow,
do it with one younger couple that no one wants to see fuck.
is that her daughter and the other
Yes,
guy?
yes. No, and
What's
no
his
one
name? I
wants to
forgot.
see them fucking. Like Roger's
Yeah,
his name, because it's like
right. That's right.
why would you want to see a Roger fuck?
Right.
Like
I'm sorry to any Roger listening, but that is
Rogers and
absolutely
Bruce's. Like I'm just
Roger and
saying.
Bruce. I would,
Um,
but to be fair, I would absolutely rather see a Bruce fuck than a Roger. I don't
uh,
know. If I had to choose,
yeah, Bruce
if
or
I had to choose,
Roger.
I would
Yeah.
pick to see a Bruce fuck over a Roger.
I
Absolutely.
agree. I agree. But yeah, that's just yeah. I want them to take like they can come back in 2025. So like I feel like they think they have other opportunities out there in the acting world. Not to say they don't, but like go do
Mm-hmm.
that first and come back. Like don't feel forced to come back to like Outlander because that was your main gig. Like
Yeah.
go be Claudia,
If you,
sprout your wings and come.
you said you read all the books in the Outlander series, so how many more seasons, if the show just did all the books that are out to date, how
Oh
many more
my
seasons of the show?
god, at least 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, like the book literally starts in Scotland before like I don't know, it starts in Scotland, Scottish Revolution, and then like it goes to America and then
Now,
like slavery time
now
and then it goes
warning, I've
uh-huh.
read the first book, and then a few years ago, I just went on Wiki and I read the plot synopsises for all the books.
Wow. I cannot.
Because I was like, I'm never going to read those books. And yeah, but I was curious.
Well,
Because
the author is a
I was still
fantastic
watching.
writer.
Huh?
Uh-huh. No, the author, she's fantastic. I call her the Diana Gabaldon, who wrote the books, I wish like GRRM would learn from her how to fucking finish a
Wow.
book. Because she will give you all the historical fiction mixed with fiction and get you that book in 2 years, and it'll be like 1,100 pages. And like
George is at party.
GRM, he's at parties, exactly.
He's at
But
parties.
like the author, each book, she's been consistent. The show has fallen off compared to the books.
Wow.
And even in the books, we're now at a point where Jamie had a bastard child, I think in like season 1 or 2, but like currently in the books, like the kid is like now like a rich ass like noble kid and just as hot as Jamie. Like he's in his 20s being Jamie in his 20s. So even though like we don't get a lot of the spice from Jamie and Claire, you got Jamie Jr. out here wrecking shit.
Right.
So
because he has a kid that was being raised by somebody, right?
Yeah, like he was
like a noble guy. That guy.
After the Scottish Revolution, he was made to be like an indentured servant for like this British family that had a wealthy daughter, and then she like she raped Jamie basically by forcing him to have sex with her, and she had a baby, and then she died, but she was married when she died. And this baby, even though was a bastard, ends up being like the richest fucking baby ever because he's from like 2 rich households. And no one tells him he's Jamie's son, even though like he looks Scottish and he's got red hair and his dad is like a British. So it's messy. Yeah. Jamie got like 5 kids. He's got this bastard kid. He's
fucking all over continents and times.
He's got a baby in the future. He's got 2 kids with his wife, his other wife that he married, and he just be adopting kids out here. And he got this French kid.
He married a girl with a weird name. The girl who was like
we call her Leg Hair Larry, but yeah, but he also then raised like her 2 kids with another man.
That's right. I remember that.
Jamie just got like mad kids.
And, mess. Okay.
And he still pays child support. I will say that for him. He pays child support on kids that are not even his by blood.
He's way better than most modern men.
Most modern men, which is hilarious. Now that I've caught you up at Outlander.
Thank you.
Okay. Look, you're welcome. I'm sure Sarah is like woo, 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 right now. But updated you on that ridiculous show. But yes, that is it. I'm so happy you came on to talk.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a blast, and I couldn't have asked for a better way to spend my New Year's Day.
Yay.
But that's all we've got for you guys. We've been charming. We've been lovely. We've been hilarious.
Yes, we have.
That's all we got. Tell them where they can find you, Nina, if you would like for them to find you.
Yeah, I guess. Not really, honestly. It's so silly. It's just so ridiculous. Anyway, actually, this is actually kind of important. So, like, if you go to projectfandom.com, that's the website. And because it's now podcasts, like we no longer do written reviews, the site looks different, but I did recover the old site. So I will be changing projectfandom.com. Nothing drastic. It was just going to have like an archive tab at the very top. But right now, if you go to archive.projectfandom.com, the old site is there. And so you can find so much shit that we did, including movies reviews of TV shows and comic books and books and convention coverage.
Feels like another world away, honestly.
Oh my God, that was right. Like if it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. So it was just important to me to recover all of that stuff so that, like, again, like in the future, I don't know if you guys are going to be, applying to do entertainment writing in other places, or you just want to revisit, it's a lot of hard work put into that site. So I wanted to make sure that I retrieved it. So the archive is up, but the site is currently just projectfandom.com, and you can see all of the shows we're covering, particularly on the schedule tab. So a lot of our podcasts are mostly premium, which is over on Patreon to people pay for, because it's pretty much the only thing I do for income now. But we also do put out some free stuff. And I believe Mayfair Witches is probably going to be free. So,
all right. So
that's
you
it.
guys definitely make sure you check that out. Like, I cannot speak Nina's praises enough, not just as a woman, but as a podcaster, as a person with a brain, which is one of my favorite things in life. I like people who, in a sense, speak their truth. You know, some might call us combative, but I think the world needs more combative people. If that makes sense. But yeah. But Nina, I don't know where you find the time to do all these things and be a
I don't
person.
either.
It's hard.
I don't
It's
either.
hard. It's hard. But we somehow managed to, like, the world was chasing us. I don't know. But I'll put all of that in the show notes for you guys to check out.
Yes. And make sure you guys, when you write in for Moji feedback, the next time you contact her, you talk to her on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you see Moji, you tell her how amazing she is in her Korean studies, and you get her to say something to
Thank
you, because
you.
she's really
I would say 감사합니다, Nina 씨. 좋아요.
good. 괜찮아요. 잘했어요. So, okay.
Okay, now that's just for us. But thank you guys so very much for listening. You can find me on Twitter, where I talk a lot of shit, BookDreamer01, and of course TV Movie Mistresses across all the social platforms. Leave your 5-star reviews. Stop, if y'all are enjoying this shit, I need you don't get to enjoy this shit anymore if you don't leave a 5-star review. That's my 2023 thing. Like, stop playing. The algorithm needs to see the 5 stars. It is what it is. But thank you guys for listening. We are upon another year somehow. And I cannot wait to continue talking about this show and all the other amazing shows out there in the world. What else am I covering on the feed right now? I can't even remember. Oh, for Patreons, I'm actually not starting. One episode is out so far. I'm going to be reviewing House of the Dragons for patrons only, so check that out. That is not going to be on the free feed. I'm actually going to be a boss about that, because I always break and be like, but what about the free feed? Nah, it's only going to be patrons. I'm not paying. So you could subscribe. You could still get in for as little as $1, because once I have time, that $1 is gone and it's gonna be like $2. So like I say, the price of the brick is going up in 2023. If corporations can do it, us podcasters who give up our time to research, podcast, record, edit, and bring you gloriousness, I think we can afford to bump up the price of the brick to $2. But outside of that, I do hope all of you out there are enjoying, being safe. Stay masked up, because people still nasty with or without COVID. And, I hope we all jump into 2023 and have a great 2023 and fuck the world. That's what I say.
Yes.
Fuck the world. But Nina, thank you so much for coming on. We should do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Whether or not I'm just gonna say this right now to sort of hold you on the spot. I don't know when we'll do it, but we'll do like a K-drama podcast. Whether on your podcast or vice versa, I'm fine with either. But we should talk Korean dramas. I think that would be fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So thank you guys out there for listening. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have any thoughts, feedback, tvmoviemistress@gmail.com. And we will do this again soon. Bye, y'all. Say bye, Nina.
Bye. Annyeong.
Annyeong.